Do you want to know the number one driver of business in my calligraphy business? It's actually networking. Networking has helped me so much to get clients, like doing corporate calligraphy workshops, collaborations, supporters, business friends, mentors, different kinds of partnerships, and it has just changed my business so much. I've been a huge fan of networking ever since my university days, and I've done multiple presentations at different organizations on how to network well. Make sure you stick until the end of this video because I'm going to be sharing my top strategies for networking and how you can use it to grow your business or your career. First, why does networking work? Let's say you meet one person at an event or you connect with one person on social media. Well, how many people does that one person know? Let's say maybe 100 in their close network. Well, you've just increased your network by 100 people. And so networking has this exponential effect, not a linear path. It's exponential because the more people you know, the more you have access to their networks and the more opportunities you'll get. And this leads into my first tip, which is to be open-minded when you meet someone. You never know who they know or what opportunities might come up because you know them. To give you an example, I went to a Christmas party in 2018 and I met somebody and I thought, she's just very nice. I had a great chat with her and then we connected on Instagram afterwards. A couple months later, she messaged me saying, "Hey Dina, I'm opening up a bubble tea shop and we're thinking about having some cool things and I remember you're a calligrapher. Do you want to come to our bubble tea shop like grand opening day and do some calligraphy for the people who come on that day?" And that is how I got my first paid on-site calligraphy event. At the time, I had no idea that she was going to open a bubble tea shop, but I just was open-minded, and then this led me to having this wonderful opportunity of doing on-site calligraphy. Next, start with people you know. Don't underestimate the power of your own network. We all have those people that we went to high school with, or maybe you just met briefly at an event. You didn't really talk to them, but you have them on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. And I really don't want you to kind of just think about meeting new people all the time. What about your existing network? What about your weak ties? These weak ties are so much easier to connect with because you already have some kind of relationship with them, even though the relationship is very weak, but this kind of relationship is so easy to turn into a stronger relationship compared to you meeting a stranger at an event and just like starting from scratch. When I was working in my old job, and this was like way before I started to learn calligraphy, I met somebody at an event and she is the founder of a HR company. And so I remember meeting her very, very briefly. I think she did a presentation and then I connected with her on LinkedIn and then I didn't talk to her for like 2 or 3 years or something like that. But then when I started to want to get more corporate calligraphy workshops and thinking about who I connect with, I remembered that there's this HR person that I met long time ago, and I actually messaged her and I asked her if she wanted to go out for a coffee and then talk about if there are any collaboration opportunities. And I just said, I just wanted to learn more about your business and support you. So this eventually turned into a collaboration where she invited a bunch of her HR contacts and I did a free 1-hour calligraphy workshop for them so they could try out my calligraphy workshop and then I could email them with more information about my corporate calligraphy workshop. And then bam, right there, I have 10 new HR contacts. You might think that in order to network, you have to go to some kind of in-person event, but you actually don't need to do that. You can totally leverage social media and use that to network. Let me share with you a couple examples of how you can use social media to network. So let's say you are using Instagram. And for me, I am the most active on Instagram and I love connecting with different people on Instagram. So what you can do is to first follow a bunch of people who you want to connect with. These might be potential clients or these might be potential partners that you could work with. So watch their content and then especially pay attention to their Instagram stories and Instagram posts. Now, once you see something that you feel like you can connect with, so an example is maybe somebody shared a Instagram story about them walking their dog. And then what you can do is to reply to that Instagram story and then say, hey, like, oh my gosh, I have a dog too, or oh my gosh, your dog is so cute, what's his name? And you start a conversation this way. Eventually, you can start talking about the dog, but then you can talk more about the business that they run or what they're doing, and then they'll probably ask you what you are doing. Whenever you're talking to people, like, don't try to pitch them or sell them anything. Like, really try to form a genuine connection where it's kind of like you're being friends. You can also use industry-specific Facebook groups. So for me, I personally like the Facebook groups that are like business owners in Vancouver or women entrepreneurs in BC. Like, these kinds of business entrepreneurship related Facebook groups are really great because some people will ask questions and you can definitely comment, help them out, give value, and then connect with them that way. You can also post your own questions if you have any questions about doing business, and they can also help out. Depending on the rules of the Facebook group, you can contact some of them like outside of the Facebook group, but really you should like look into the Facebook group rules. But I have connected with a lot of people from these Facebook groups outside. The important thing I want you to remember is when you reach out to somebody, there should be a reason why you're reaching out. Even if it's because of their cute dog or something. Like, it's really weird when you just reach out and say,
hey, I would love to connect with you.
And there's like no reason. Like, there has to be some kind of a prompt that happens where there's like a reason for you to connect with that person. So for example, on LinkedIn, I have a lot of people just like messaging me or adding me on LinkedIn out of the blue with no message. But sometimes maybe I will post something on LinkedIn and then somebody comments and says, hey, I really resonate with what you posted, let's connect. And so then I think, oh yeah, like that totally makes sense. They saw my post, there's a reason to connect. And it's not like it's just weird where they just like want to reach out to you. Because when people do that to me, I feel like they want to sell me something. So I just kind of ignore them. So for you, like, try to do the same thing where when you are reaching out to people or when you want to connect with someone, try to find a reason for you to connect with them. Maybe they posted something that you resonate with and then you can comment on that. Hey, if you're learning a thing or two about networking through this video so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up so that more people can find this video. Next, take advantage of online events. You can use Eventbrite, Facebook groups, and Google and look for more of like the panel events or networking business events. Even event where it's like not related to business, you can go to that and meet people. Because remember, networking is not about making like a very formal business connection. It is about forming like career friends or business friends. So let's just use the example of you going to a panel event where there's a couple of speakers. Well, if it's a Zoom event, then you can see everybody else who joins. You can usually see their first and last name. So what I usually do is I take note of everybody who joins the event. I search them up on LinkedIn. I see like where they work and maybe if I want to connect with them, and then I'll send them a LinkedIn message or I'll send them an email depending on what information I can find on them. And then I'll say, hey, I saw you at this event. We're in the same event, this panel event, and I see you work at this, and I would love to connect with you about this. So let's connect. Another great way to find online events is through subscribing to the email newsletters of certain organizations. So for me, I like to find like business organizations in my area or Canadian business organizations or women entrepreneurship organizations, and then receiving their newsletters, and then they always have events happening. Hey, if you went to university or college, do not unsubscribe from those alumni newsletter emails because universities and alumni groups also host a lot of events. And it's so easy to connect with people because you went to the same school. Next, change your mindset about networking. As I mentioned before, it's not about forming like these totally formal, professional, and very stiff relationships. It's more about forming genuine connections and like genuine friendships, like business friends or career friends. And if you think of it that way, like it really takes away this how scary it is, because I think a lot of people think that networking is a scary thing where you have to wear a suit and go networking and meet people and be super formal. But it's not. It's actually about forming long-term relationships where you give value to each other. A really great book that I love is the book Give and Take by Adam Grant, because he talks about why it's so important for us to give when we're networking and when we're building relationships, because in the long term, the more we give, the more we're going to receive back. My next strategy is to follow up after meeting somebody at an event or a virtual event. A lot of the times when we go to an event, we just meet somebody like very briefly. So that's why it's so important that you continue the conversation with a follow-up, email or on social media. So how do you do this? Typically with any kind of event, I will maybe talk to 10 people or 20 people, but I will then follow up with only 1 or 2 people that I think I'll really connect with. So I'll send a follow-up email and remind them how we connected and say, hey, like I think we should continue to connect over this. And my secret is to actually ask them for a coffee chat meeting or like a Zoom call just to continue the conversation and actually talk and not to just type emails or text, because it's really when you actually have a real life conversation where you get to connect with people and learn more about them. Texting is okay, but you can only accomplish so much when you're texting or sending emails. Like it's so much more fast to build a connection through actually talking to them. And that's why coffee chats are so important. If you have any other questions about networking or you want me to expand on something more, let me know in the comments. Next, did you know that your business grows in proportion to your own self-growth? And that's why I'm a huge fan of reading books, which are definitely like the cheapest way to invest in your own self-growth. If you aren't reading books or listening to audiobooks already, and I know in this video I mentioned the book Give and Take by Adam Grant, which I really highly do recommend if you want to improve your communication and relationships, but there are so many other great books on networking and communication and business and relationships. So if you want to grow your business even more, then make sure you check out this video because I explain how exactly you can build a reading habit.